Hey everybody! Today we're going to go into the first of three lessons on the player's turn, so the actions that a player can do on his or her turn in Bukharo. The phases include the collect phase, which is drawing or picking up cards, the scoring phase, which is where you can play sets and runs or add to sets and runs that you've already played on the board, and then the last phase is the discard phase, where you effectively discard a card and end your turn. Today we're going to talk about the collect phase. And one thing to know before I start getting into the notes on the slide here is that the collect phase and the discard phase, or phase 1 and 3, must always be played on every turn in Bukharo, regardless of when it's happening in the game. You must always start your turn by collecting a card, and you must always finish it by discarding a card. Phase 2, you can kind of get around by doing nothing. You're still doing something for that phase, but you can effectively skip that, but you always have to do phases 1 and 3. Okay, now each turn begins with the collect phase, and in the collect phase you can perform one of two options. You can either draw the top card from the deck, or you can pick up all the cards from the discard pile. Now I say that in bold for all the cards because there are different variations of Bukharo that have different rules about what cards and how many you can pick up from the discard pile. Some of them say that you can pick up cards up to a certain card, and that card, the last one that you pick up, has to be something that you play on a set or run during phase 2. Some say that you have to have a certain level of points before you can even pick up cards in the discard pile, but for the standard rules, you can pick up cards from the discard pile at any time, but you just have to pick up all of them. Okay? I think it'll be a little bit clearer when we go into the card interface. I'm going to start by highlighting the two sections of cards that you can pick up from, the deck or the discard pile. Looking at player one's hand, I can see the discard pile has an 8 of clubs, and that doesn't do much for me. I have a king, queen, and 5 of clubs, and the 8 of clubs kind of hangs in the middle. I can't really use it to expand to a sequence to get a little bit more points or anything like that, and it's not going to really benefit the 5 or the queen in any sense. So I'm going to go try my luck and draw a card from the top of the deck. And I flip it over, and it happens to be a 7 of diamonds. Oh well, it's not that useful, but it's a game of chance. You make the best decisions that you can, and you live with the consequences. Now, one other thing to mention for all of you who are playing the Play Bukharo app, in the app itself, what I tried to do was make it a little bit clearer which cards were picked up during this phase. So what I've done is I've actually added a little bluish tint to all of the cards that are picked up during a player's turn. So like you see here now for the 7 of diamonds, it's been shifted to a bluish tint. So you know that, I played that or I picked up that card during my collect phase. You can disable that by changing the settings, but I wanted you to at least have the option to know what was picked up and what was not, because as the game kind of wears on, and if you're collecting several cards, it gets a little bit hard to follow what I just picked up and what I already had. And it's not a huge thing to know. I mean, you'll still have the card in your hand, but it's nice to know, in my opinion, hey, I just picked this up and now let me see if I can do anything with it. Or maybe I, just want to get rid of it later on. Anyway, that's it for this lesson. If you have any questions or if you're confused about anything with the collect phase, feel free to leave me a message or post a comment on the page, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Thank you again for watching. I think at this point you've already seen these QR codes and the links are going to be there, so I'm not going to go into that detail. But again, I really appreciate any comments or any ratings that you provide me with, and any feedback that you can provide me with. So thank you again for watching. Next lecture we'll talk about the scoring phase, and I hope to see you then. Have a fantastic day.